this one.
Good morning. My name is Steve Morgan, and I am interviewing Jim Carpenter regarding Office of Personnel Management issues affecting the veterans community. In the December 2010 American Legion magazine, an article appearing entitled "The Federal Hiring Gauntlet." The issue deals with hiring roadblocks currently experienced by veterans. Now, Jim, let me be the first to say we thank you for taking the time to enlighten us. I'm going to turn it over to you.
Steve, I'd like to again thank you for allowing me to not just voice my opinion, but get this information out to our brothers and sisters in arms who have defended this great nation.
Jim, who is the USAjobs.gov?
The USAjobs.gov is actually the portal, as we say, or the face of the Office of Personnel Management. It seems that government agencies have now been consolidated into a vacuum where if you're applying for a government job, you need to go through USAjobs.gov, which diverts you to the OPM and to other agencies. But again, this is the face of personnel management.
I see. And I heard that an article just come out on the from the American Legion regarding certain issues into hiring practices of OPM. Can you just please expound on that for us today?
Absolutely. And as you had said before, there is an article. It appeared in the December 2010 issue of American Legion magazine, and I do have a copy right here, and the title is "The Federal Hiring Gauntlet," and it is the veterans. It says veterans face roadblocks in getting jobs with the government they defended, and that is correct, because the entire hiring process for veterans through USA Jobs and through the Office of Personnel Management is quite convoluted, very confusing, and I can tell you that applications that are initiated and sent through the system many times go into something we call the human resources abyss, never to be seen or heard from again.
And now, Jim, have you yourself applied for some of these applications?
Yes, I have. I've applied for quite a few positions, as a matter of fact. 68, in fact, over a 3.5-year period.
I see. And what does one go through? If you can just bring us from the beginning, you fill out your application. First of all, how do you obtain an application? Do you go online, or do you go in person, or how does this come about?
Very good question. Years ago, it used to be offices used to be set in different locations where you could do a walk-in and fill out an application and hand in copies of your paperwork, DD-214, resume, qualifications. Now, because of USAjobs.gov, you go through this portal. What happens is you'll go through, you'll search for jobs. First you'll start a profile. So you have your profile. You search for jobs. You can save those jobs if you don't want to work on them at that point.
I see.
You'll then click that job. It will give you qualifications, education, and detail. It says apply now. So you would click that, and that initiates the hiring process. Sometimes it's right through OPM. Other times that may divert you to another agency, such as Department of Interior, U.S. Navy, whatever. But once you start initiating the process, you have to detail a resume. You have to attach additional paperwork, especially if you're a veteran. DD-214, military transcripts, educational transcripts. If you're a disabled vet, your veteran disability letters in a PDF format, and then you submit it to the agency.
I
OPM.
see.
Right.
What's your experience with the military, if you could tell us?
16.5 years, dual service, U.S. Navy, CB, and United States Air Force wing historian and project manager.
That's quite commendable on that. And how many applications have you yourself applied for?
As I had said, 68.
68.
Out of those 68, 4 referrals, 1 interview over a 3.5-year period.
Remarkable.
Remarkable and disheartening. And actually, to veterans, a slap in the face and a disgrace. Because I'm not the only one that has applied. I have, you'll see here on the desk here, we have some correspondence from some veterans with jobs also. We have one individual here, close to me, he's got 49 that he's applied for over a 2-year period and has received 2 referrals, no interviews. Yet, he's qualified for many positions through his military experience of over 23 years.
Wow, amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing.
And how many have you yourself been able to get a response from them?
The one from the interview. One time I did contact the number on the form, and I did get someone, and they just told me that they received my information, that the status would be updated. After that, the person, I tried to call again, the person then said that they are no longer with the Office of Personnel Management, and to call, email, or write. I tried all 3. I left a message, I emailed, and I wrote letters, and I've done this on multiple occasions for other jobs and have received no response.
Wow.
These are phone numbers that ring to nowhere, emails that go to nowhere, and letters we wish we knew where they go.
Amazing. Have you spoke to other veterans and to what have they gone through? Did they tell you yourself?
Absolutely. And these are some of the files, like I said, that we have here. I mean, I have a lot of these are disabled vets, dual service veterans. I have one individual here that a youngster, Iraqi freedom, and was told to take off his military experience off of his resume. The youngster was putting in applications, no referrals, no interviews. Do you know, as soon as he took off his military experience and ramped his, or skewed it toward more of a corporate, away from the military, do you know he started to receive referrals and he was eventually hired? But isn't that a disgrace that veterans are being told to, quote, detail or skew up their resume, but take off their military experience?
So what you're saying, in fact, that it serves as a handicap
Absolutely.
to put on their veteran status.
Absolutely. And we've been told this directly from a few people in the know, in human resources, in the Office of Personnel Management, who wish at this point to remain anonymous because of the position they're in. They've been told that many times, if you're applying, we need to dumb down our resumes. Dumb down. That's again telling us that we should not be proud of both our military service and the experience we've gained in the private sector. So, what message is that sending to the veterans community? You don't want us to put our military service on there. You want us to, quote, dumb down our resumes. And they say, well, we really want you to detail it toward the job. Well, I'm just going to let you know, Steve, 19 years in corporate America. Many of those years as a manager, a project manager. Let me tell you something. If I see someone that's applying for a job that has a combination of military experience and corporate experience, I know where they're coming from. I'm going to want that person as part of my team because I know that person can hit the ground running. Just like boots on the ground in country, same thing here. I want that person. Well, the reality is human resource generalists in corporate America see us as that as a handicap. They think we are not well educated because we went into the military or we've now left the military. We must have some type of problem. That's not the case. That's not the case.
So they don't look at it as a patriotic thing to do.
No. You know, it's funny because they'll get up at their banquets and the CEOs and CFOs and they'll be with politicians and they'll be banging and they'll say, we love our veterans. We're going to hire veterans. Yeah, a lot of companies that are hiring veterans, you're paying them $8 and $10 an hour, which really isn't even enough for them to keep a vehicle on the road and a roof over their head. But you are hiring them. What's that all about? You know what we really need, Steve? We need veterans advocates to get together with corporate America, with the Office of Personnel Management, because it's quite obvious that OPM is not doing their job. They're really not even looking at these applications. And I'll tell you why I say that. Again, one of the people in the know told us there's tricks that they have. Tricks that they use so that you do not get your veteran status and you're not able to use it.
Well, so what is their rating process? How does one rate a veteran, or anyone for that matter, that puts in an application with OPM?
Well, according to OPM, there are links that you have to meet certain qualifications for certain jobs. So if you click some of these links and it says education, then it will say experience and education and experience. So it's a combination thereof. Both municipal and county governments and state governments have the same thing. But with OPM, if you read through the full qualification, it is so convoluted. I read one day, and it said, to qualify at a GS11 level, you must qualify at a GS7 but have GS9 experience for 52 weeks, concurrent to, and I'm looking at this and I'm saying, what am I applying for here? Is it a combination of experience? Because that's what you're telling me, experience and education, but now you're telling me it's not. And you know the reason they write it this way? So that it is convoluted. It is confusing. Most people give up and don't apply.
So they're actually dissuading people
Absolutely.
Out there from applying.
Absolutely.
For what do you think, for what reason?
Because they have folks already tabbed internally. Internally. Again, these folks are already seen to be in that position. We've had instances where I've seen jobs open for a 5 and 6 day period, and I've seen positions open for a 12-month period. I'll tell you, Steve, be very wary of the ones that are open 5, 6, and 7 days. Someone has already been tabbed for that position. The only reason that's being posted is to comply with federal law.
I see.
Only reason. And if you apply for that, you just wasted probably 8 to 10 hours depending on how detailed the application had to be.